So there were a few treaties that Turkey signed, and Turkey and a few Near Eastern European world states signed about a century ago, including the Treaty of Lausanne, Montreux Convention, and maybe even after 1950s, including the Ankara Agreement, some of which have been the subjects of debate, and one of which is apparently is set to expire within a year in the summer of 2024. And it turns out that there'll be some new forms of like ideological transformations next year, probably. Well, to me, these treaties, a few changed, and why did you stop? Come on. I'm using my microphone and doing my episode in here. Treaties, so whatever. So one of these treaties, what they do, the governing ideologies doesn't need to be the government ideology, but the governing ideologies, which means that there might be a few in the ideologies in a state, a country, that are the governing forces and powers. And in Turkey, in any democratic country, the government ideologies are multiverse. So what I was saying is that the governing ideologies in states, there are state ideologies, and there might be governing ideologies in countries more or less democratic. And in Turkey, the governing ideologies have had to go in compliance with the founding ideology. It's not the Kemalist ideology, but the nationalist ideology. Kemalism is like one of the governing ideologies. It's not the founding ideologies, more or less composed of the governing ideologies, including religious ideologies as well, more or less progressive religious ideologies in the turn of the century. And, some of these treaties will expire, and the mythologies of state-making and constructing identity, which is a mythology in Turkey, maybe less a mythology in more or less the countries that were more or less democratized before Turkey, or had been through the civil wars and conflicts before Turkey, like the United States. It had long passed its civil war by the time Turkey was established, and the Republic of Turkey. So compared to the United States, I mean, these treaties and the questionings of these treaties and agreements, including one of the later agreements in 1960s and 50s, Ankara Agreement, the shift, there's a paradigm shift of not only ideology but also identity. So what failed in Turkey more than once is the nationalist idea of the citizen, or of being a Turkish. And that failed, and that has to, I bet those who signed that on the main constitution even are very aware of the fact that failed. And they're the ones who are actively illustrating and showing it in numerous times that the idea of Turkishness is a failed idea. But it could be a more or less a good idea in terms of the fact that it shows that the identity is something that is performed as theorized in queer theory. In terms of that, Turkish identity is a very good case study of queer theory. Not in terms of sexual identity, but national identity. It's a queer identity. It had to be queer. Why? Because, you're mixed of a lot of ethnicities and cultures. And I've been checking one of those, the powerful, the corporate groups in Turkey, which is known as Anatolian Group. And the founders I think they're more or less like from what is known as the White Turks, not Islamists though. I bet there might be secular religious people, but yeah, I mean they have been categorized as White Turks in Turkey, because I mean I know for sure that they're Kemalists, and most of Kemalists, no matter what their color are, they're being categorized historically as white, even if they might be brown or not. They're like ideologically they're White Turks. That's one of the clashes of these governing ideologies in Turkey. They're like white Islamists and white Turks. The white Turks have been historically categorized as the more or less Kemalist, having Kemalist incentives, and the white Islamists are like also, well, their color is not official. Their official color, the word is white, but the official color is green, because of being Islamist. Green refers to ideologically that, like the green capital, white capital and green capital, and the clashes of the governing ideologies. Well, that made its apex. And well, virtually in the first 2 decades of the 21st century, and keeping in mind the fact that some of these treaties are being questioned, and one of which is set to expire next year, and considering the fact that there's some wars going on in this region, and the northern Turkey and southern Turkey, there will be some paradigm shifts around here. Well, I don't think that the ideological paradigm shift will take effect so fast as signing something like a convention or an agreement, like the Ankara Agreement or whatever, whatever you might like to call. But yeah, I mean, there'll be some changes. Well, some countries will grow and some countries will shrink. Well, Ukraine is shrinking already, and it's not as powerful a country as Turkey. Turkey is not comparable to Ukraine. Maybe Syria, but compared to Syria, Ukraine has lost faster than Syria. Well, I mean, Israel, it's not something new. It's been around since the post-war era. Whatever. So, well, to me, the ideological shift, or the I don't know if that's the right term to use, the changes of being, having an identity, or being from a country, and well, I would like to compare Turkey to Israel, maybe Russia as well, well, in between Russia and Israel, not Syria and Ukraine. These two countries are more or less whatever. So the shift that is being, that's not a conspiracy theory, that's something that's been expected for a while now, and these wars are not a surprise. I mean, these were also, there's something that's yet to come, and it's not the Valentine's Day or the Christmas. and there's something that is yet to come, which happens once in a century, unlike the Valentine's Day or the Christmas, or I don't know. These phenomena occur once in a lifetime, or a century. I'm not comparing that to Henry Kissinger, who passed away today, but yeah, I mean, 100 years old. Wow. Well, these paradigm shifts, will also give the it will be also will also imply be indicative of the expressions of the upcoming world order. Upcoming, I don't mean in a progressive sense, because what is silent is China. I don't think they want to be that much involved in the Near East or something. Well, I wish I wasn't conditioned in the midst of these treaties, Ankara Treaty, Lausanne Treaty, or I don't know, Montreux Convention. But well, I was, and I don't know if I will be. I applied to a PhD, and I'm not planning to apply for another PhD, because I mean that's just expectations. I'm like 40 now, and I'm just tired of this shit. I don't want to even want to do PhD, but still, in this time of the invisible wars and the paradigm shifts that have been disclosed with idiotic gaslight things around me. I mean, as if there's no problem about these like governing ideologies clashing with themselves, but all the question is about where I'm buying my eau de cologne from, and how to make soup with the ingredients that I buy or not. I mean, of course, these are not about that. I'm not a Kemalist, and I'm atheist, but I'm not a Kemalist atheist. That they're Kemalist atheists, but I mean the fact that there are, I have no problems with Atatürk, but I have a lot of questions and problems with Kemalists, because I mean I don't need to say from 200 meters I can say that Kemalists are 99.99% are fascists. And they have proven this a lot of times, and I'm not going to buy their ideological calls anywhere. I'm just saying the Kemalist, and I have no problems or issues with Atatürk or something. To me, that's just a normal human being. It's not a pagan god. But for Kemalists, that's a pagan god. That's one of the reasons why I think Kemalists are fascists, even if they just say that they're atheists or something. They're fascist, and they have been mythologizing this figure of Atatürk as a pagan god. That's not something new. That's been around and for virtually more than a century now. Beginning with the myth of Atatürk taking a step on the land and Samsun. This is where this religion of Kemalism begins. And Samsun, he goes to Samsun with a ship. It's like a Noah's Ark, and he goes to Samsun, takes a step on Samsun, and the myth of Noah begins. And then through time, wars and made-up wars. It's like a mythologized wars that never happened. There are a few mythologized wars that never happened, but they wanted to make it look like that happened. They happened, and in the history books. So they're like the fake wars as well in the history of making state-making history and the governing ideologies and. So, in real, maybe, if Atatürk's height was like 170 in meters, and in the mythology it's like 185.